Hello there, guys. This is Arrowhead TV, and we are back. Sorry, I mean, no one probably even remembers because I have 0 subscribers on the channel, but I tried this channel last year. Didn't really get much traction after a few weeks, so I kind of stopped. But I was watching the Brit Chief in his video, and I don't know, he kind of inspired me to try this again. I love talking Chiefs football. The reason why I quit last year is because there wasn't any traction going and no one was watching the videos. Kind of felt like I was talking to myself. So, that's only so much fun. That only goes so far. But anyways, we're going to try this again and hopefully we can have a little bit more success this year. Because I love, like I said, I love talking Chiefs. Anyways, we're going to be talking this preview for this Patriots game tonight. Okay, so basically here's the overlook here. The Patriots are the defending Super Bowl champions. They're hanging the banner. They've only gotten better. There's no doubt about that. They've gotten better this offseason. But I think the Chiefs honestly have too. A lot of people think because we lost a lot of people that we have actually gotten worse. That is not true. I feel like our offensive line has actually gotten stronger. Something a lot of people don't know because we've had those red tinted goggles on. And we thought that Dontari Poe could do no wrong. But when you actually go and look back at the tape, Dontari Poe heavily struggled against the run, and he was probably like above average. Sometimes he was great, like a couple plays a game he was great against the pass, like getting up there. But for the most part, Dontari Poe wasn't really the Dontari Poe of old, and I think his contract he got this offseason was way too much, which we're going to probably find that out eventually. But yeah, he really wasn't that good. He was a big reason why we suffered so much against the run. So we went out and got Benny Logan. If you look at Benny Logan, he is actually an anchor against the run. He is really, really good against the run. So he was actually an upgrade over Poe. And then, of course, we got some guys back. Derek Johnson's back, fully healthy. Justin Houston is 100% for the first time since he led the league in sacks. And then obviously we got Holly out, but Holly's been kind of aging. He's still good, but I think just from what they're physically able to do, Ford is actually better anyways. Now Ford's technique still needs to get some work on because he's really fast, but it seems like when an offensive lineman is able to get his hands on him, he's kind of done from that point. Like he has to get by the offensive lineman. Hopefully they fix that a little bit this offseason. I didn't see that much improvement in preseason, but preseason is preseason, so it is what it is there. Then obviously our corners. Nelson's hurt, but honestly, I'm hearing Gaines is also healthy 100% for the first time since like 2 years ago. So last year's Gaines isn't necessarily what he is now. And of course, we all remember what Mitchell did when he was in. Like he was a shutdown quarter in both games really against the Raiders. He was a surprise. So they're both not too terrible. Like the loss of Nelson isn't as bad as people might think. Then on the offensive side of the ball, of course, we had Ware. A lot of people remember before Ware's injury, he was really good, but after his injury, he was only averaging like 2-point-something yards per carry. He really wasn't that great. So Hunt, he might be an improvement, and if he's not, he's really going to be more of the same of what Hunt was what Ware was most of last year. And then people look at Jerry Maclin. Jerry Maclin really didn't contribute that much last year. And Tyreek Hill being a dedicated receiver now, a dedicated part of the offense, not just a gadget player that we use every once in a while, I think that actually is an improvement. And people are really up on Connolly. So we're going to see how that goes. I mean, you actually look at the cuts we had to try and make this offseason at wide receiver. They were actually tougher than they've been since Andy Reid's really been here. So our receiver depth might actually be deeper than a lot of people are giving it credit for. So we'll see there too. I think our offensive line is looking really good, honestly. Obviously, the younger guys that have been there, it's another year of development, so they're naturally going to get better that way. And Alex Smith apparently has been having a really good offseason. I mean, we saw it in the preseason games except for the Seattle game. He was actually seemed more willing to go deep, and that seems to be pretty much the premise from what people are saying out of camp, whenever in training camp. So that's really good, obviously. So overall, the Chiefs have gotten better too. And if you talk to a lot of Patriot fans, because I talk a lot of football on Facebook groups and stuff, a lot of Patriot fans keep on going back to that playoff game. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that in that game we didn't have Houston. Macklin, who was our receiver, number one receiver at the time, and he was still really good at that point, he was barely playing. Let's be honest. And yeah, and also on defense, our scheme. I don't know if you guys remember, we were playing basically cushion pillows. We were playing so far off of Brady's receivers, and the way that they play, that leaves so much underneath. That is a recipe for disaster. If you want to beat the Patriots, you need to be a little bit risky, and you need to do jam coverage. You need to disrupt the receiver's routes, and you need to be in their face. You need to be right there, and you just need to be able to trust that your back end is going to be able to take care of itself. And I mean, when you have Ron Parker and Eric Berry at safety, you should be feeling pretty good about that. So I never understood why they went with that game plan. So there's that. But then, of course, like I said, now that's the overview. Okay, so we're going to get into how do you beat the New England Patriots. Anyone who's ever been really successful, it's really been, it starts up front. Okay, and it's the middle of your line. So Raheem Nunez-Roches, Benny Logan, Chris Jones, those guys really need to get a push up front. They need to push the pocket. And the reason why I say that is because the back end guys can be really crucial. We saw that back whenever we beat them in prime time, 41-14. A few years ago, we saw what happened. What was the recipe? You got to push up front. So then whenever Holly and Houston came around the edges, Brady couldn't step up in the pocket like he usually did, because usually that's how he gets past edge rushes, because usually that's where pressure comes from in most NFL defenses, the edge. And since he couldn't do that, that's when he got rattled. That's when he had to move. And he's even older now, so he's going to struggle with that even more. That's when he had to move, and that's when he made mistakes. That's when you got the turnovers. That's whenever you get them to go 3 and out. That's how you beat Brady and Belichick's offense. You got to push up front so the receivers aren't instantly open underneath, so he doesn't have an easy out that he can just throw to after 2 or 3 seconds. And then you got to push the line back so he can't really step up into the pocket like he usually does. And then that's whenever you let D Ford and Justin Houston eat. That's how you beat Tom Brady and the Patriots. Now, as far as how we attack when we're on offense, I think the key to beating them is Tyreek Hill. They're going to bracket Travis Kelce again. And obviously, I mean, if they double team Hill, it's kind of a two-edged sword here, because if you're going to throw to Hill, it shouldn't really matter if he's double covered, because nobody, as long as they're not jamming him, nobody can keep up with his speed. He's probably going to run past them anyways. I don't care if you put all 11 guys on him. He's probably going to run past all of them. So unless it's like they have a safety back and then a corner on him and he's trying to jam him, and then they kind of also bracket him, then maybe I could see it. Maybe I could see them shutting down. But then if they do that instance, they're obviously going to try and stack the box to stop the run, because that's what they did in the playoff game. That's usually what the recipe is against the Chiefs, because people usually don't respect Alex Smith. So, I mean, and you got to respect Tyreek Hill, because he gets open, and Alex Smith will throw deep if it's the safest throw, and he sees it. And most times, if you're only single covering Hill, it will be the safest throw, because Hill's going to get a couple steps on whoever's defending him. Because there's maybe like 2 or 3 guys in the league, defensive backs, who can keep up with Hill. Atlanta has one of them. If you remember that game, Hill wasn't as big of a part because of that in the receiving game and such. But that's how so if they do bracket him like that, and they got 2 people, they got a safety over the top and a corner sitting there trying to jam him, and then they're bracketing Kelce, and then they're stacking the box. Okay, so if you're stacking the box, that means you're leaving the linebackers and defensive linemen. You're stacking them in there. So you're going to have 7, the front 7 are all going to be stacking the box. So that's 7 defensive players. You're going to be bracketing Kelce. You need at least 2 players to do that. You need a safety and a linebacker. That's 9 players. So if you're also going to try and bracket or double Hill, that's 11. That's all 11 players. So you're at least also going to have Chris Conley, or if you're running a jumbo package, you're going to have Demetrius Harris. You're going to have another receiver, if they do that, to where they're either going to, hopefully Connolly, because if you're running the power, then if they're stacking the box, a linebacker can still, Belichick can be like, hey, if the tight end goes, you go with him. So, not, I mean, Demetrius Harris, he is fast. I actually played him with high school. In high school, I went to Jacksonville High School, Jacksonville Red Devils. He was our starting wide receiver. He's actually a really good receiver. He's got some speed. I played with him. In practice, I played, against him. He's good. I mean, he was a little raw coming out because the college he went to, they didn't have a football program, so he just played basketball. So he kind of lost some of that. He's gained it back in the last few years, though. So I'm a big believer in Demetrius Harris. We called him Meech. That's his nickname, Meech. Some people might not be so high on Meech because they really don't know him like that, but his potential is really high. But the problem is they could still hide, kind of hide if you're going to Meech. They can kind of hide coverage. They are doing that with stacking the box, and that's not as obvious. But if you go with Connolly, it is obvious because Connolly will be over there with nobody on him in this instance. So in this instance, if they're going to bracket Kelsey, they're going to decide. They're either going to also double or bracket, depending on which one they decide to do, Hill, but that's going to leave Connolly wide open with nobody on him. Or you're going to have the single cover Hill and Connolly, and in which case I'll take Hill off all day because he's going to be able to run past whoever that is. Or third option is you're pretty much going to have to not stack the box, in which case I'd really like Hunt. He reminds me a lot of Bell. He's a very patient runner. If you look the way he's built, he's got very strong legs. He's not really fast. He ran a 4.6, but he is deceptively fast, and he's got some power, and he's very, very shifty. So he's like one cut go, kind of patient, shifty. You run on them at that point. So there should be an option for the Chiefs' offense to exploit something with the way their offense is currently set up against the Patriots' defense. So that's how you attack them. One of those ways. Because unlike that game where we didn't have Macklin, and obviously it was before Hill, so Macklin was like our receiver, and it was like Connolly's rookie year, so Connolly wasn't even that involved in the offense yet. Really all they had to do was take away Kelsey and stack the box, and we really couldn't do much on them. That's not the case this time. That is not the case this time. That is how you attack them. I feel like the national media isn't really studying that as much because they're like, oh, Tom Brady the GOAT. Well, that only matters so much. So on offense, it's use Kelsey, or no, not my bad. It's use Connolly. Both start with a K. My bad. But you either use Connolly heavily because he's going to have nobody on him, or you take what they give you. Whether that is they stack the box and bracket Kelsey and cover Connolly with one person, so then you got one-on-one matchups all day long with Hill, or you run the ball because they're not stacking the box. This is how you beat the New England Patriots tonight. Hopefully they see this too. I mean, this almost seems too easy. This almost seems too obvious, but it's there. You only have 11 people on the defense that Belichick can use. So that's how you're going to attack them. And on defense, you got to get a push up front. And you have to press. You got to run press, man. You got to jam them. You got to be physical with these receivers. You got to make it where someone's not obviously open that Brady can just check down to over the middle or a short one on the sideline. You can't let him do that. He'll slowly eat you apart all day, just like he did in that playoff game, just like Ben Roethlisberger did last year in the playoff game. You can't do that. You got to be up and physical. Sutton loves to run man press, but I don't know why it is that in the playoff game each against the Steelers and against the Patriots, he didn't do any of that. He played off against our defense's strengths. So you got to do that, and you got to let Houston and Ford eat. That's how you get them on defense. That's how we got that 41-14 whooping years ago, and that's how you do it. Now, how effectively they pull off these game plans, that remains to be seen. So obviously on defense, it's going to be tougher because there's so many moving parts that have to do their job. The defensive line up the middle has to get the push, has to push the line so Brady can't step up. And then Ford and Houston, this is probably the most likely one. They need to be able to get around because Houston's a beast, and if Ford beats this guy, his burst is off the line is like Derek Thomas-esque. He doesn't have the moves that Derek Thomas had once he engages, but he has the ability to get past people like Derek Thomas did. So as long as he does that, and Houston just beats Houston, they should get their job done. But then also you have to have the corners doing their job, and obviously the safeties too. So that's less cut and dry than our offensive game plan that I just said. But if all that comes together, the Chiefs can win. Now, as far as the prediction goes, when the schedule first came out, because I always try to predict the schedule earlier, because I know once the season's here, I'm gonna get my rose tinted, my red tinted, sea red tinted goggles on. And I'm gonna want to pick the Chiefs. This is the way I am. This is the way it's gonna happen as a fan. I want them to win. But when I initially did the predictions, though, and I was looking at it, subjectively, unbiased, I had the Chiefs losing. But I still had the Chiefs as 11-5. Or if we get one of them flipped, and 11-5 was we lost all of our flip the coin games. The games I didn't have see the Chiefs as the better team, I went ahead and marked those as L's, and I had the Chiefs as 11-5. Now, if one of those games flipped the other way and the Chiefs won on the coin toss one, I have them 12-4. So my prediction for the Chiefs was 11-5 or 12-4 without winning this game. Now, if we can pull it off, which I think it's possible, it's gonna be tough. We are the underdogs. We should be the underdogs. It's gonna be tough. But we still can go 12-4. And we could really go 11-5, even if we lose this game. So this game isn't really a make or break. If we're in the contention for number 1 or number 2 like we were last year, which we should be if we're like 12-4, this game would be huge for tiebreakers to try and get that number 1 seed, which you want, because you get a week off and you play the lowest remaining seed. So that's the easiest path to the AFC Championship game. And obviously, in the AFC Championship game, you get at home also. So that's guaranteed. So you want the number 1, and obviously this game is important there. But the season's not a wash if we lose against the Patriots tonight. So my prediction, my heart prediction is, okay, I'm gonna sell out a little bit here. If everything goes right, my prediction of what I just laid out, the game plan, if everything goes right, my prediction is the Chiefs would win like 24-21. It'd be a field goal game, 24-21. But looking at unbiased, and everything doesn't go all perfect, which is week 1, it probably won't. So the more likely scenario, I would say, is the Chiefs lose 27-24. I think, it sucks because I want the Chiefs to win, but it is what it is. So I think we can win it, but I think we are the underdog for a reason, as we should be. The Patriots were the best team in the league, and they got even better. Of course, you don't have, Julian Edelman anymore, but they still do have Amendola. They have Cooks. They have Hogan. So, that and obviously the GOAT throwing to them. It doesn't ever seem to matter who's running the ball for them. They still usually have a decent running game. So, there's a little sour grapes in there for you. But, yeah. Go Chiefs. I think the Chiefs can win it. I don't think the Chiefs should win it. I think they can win it, though. But I have a lot of mad respect for Bill Belichick, for Tom Brady, for all of them. So we'll see what happens. It's a late game. I have to work tomorrow, so my wrap-up will probably be in the evening tomorrow when I record it, and then it gets uploaded. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the game.